Alright guys, so this is going to be a quick little bonus video for you. If you like the Lodestar, you may have watched a couple old videos I have on my channel from a few years ago when this truck was freshly built, but I'm going to do a video right now because it's good light and it's washed, which happens about once or twice a year, even for a neat freak like me. So I bought this truck originally in 2009. It is a 1995 Chevy C3500HD, which if you know anything about that era truck and Chevys in particular, these things were workhorses. That's a 5,000 pound I-beam front axle underneath it, leaf sprung, and then it's got a Dana 80 out back. That's a 10,000 GVW, so it's a 15,000 GVW, which nowadays, you know, you can buy any old 1-ton that's a 14,000 GVW, but in 1995, or actually better yet, in 1991 when these came out, these were workhorses and still are. They're simple, they're light, they have amazing payload. This truck, even with a Cummins diesel and a fuller 6-speed in it, only weighs about 8,500 pounds. So you can do the math on the payload. I have a gasser at work that's a 2,000, and with a big block in it, it weighs like 7,200 pounds with a dump body, with a steel dump on it. So just great payload capacity on these rigs. So anyway, I bought it in 09. It had like a way too long of a body on it. Had like a 14-foot flatbed on it. So I sectioned about 3 feet off the back and painted it white at the time. And it had a TBI big block 454 in it with a 4L80E automatic, rebuilt the blown automatic, and put a 10-foot Monroe Salter on it and a 8-foot Boss plow on the front, and went to work plowing. Made some good money with it, subcontracted. Did that for about 3 years. Sold it to the guy I worked for at the time. When I took a different job, went and did my thing. He had it for about 2 years, maybe 3, and parked it in a salt bin, literally, and it rotted out. So I bought it back from him in 2014, I think, and put cab corners and doors and fenders and inner fenders and black paint and you know, wheels and tires at the time. And the important thing is, and don't laugh, she's rusty now, she's a tired old girl, we got rid of that and we put in that. So basically I bought a 1994 Ford F700 low pro, I think Ford calls them low loaders. But anyway, it was a 5.9 Cummins, a 215 horse, so a high horse output for a 5.9 anyway, for 12 valve. And had a fuller 6-speed behind it. They couldn't figure out how to start it. Turns out they were just idiots and didn't realize that 12 valve, at least the industrial 12 valves that they put into trucks, no grid heater, no glow plugs. Cold start procedure is throttle to the floor and crank. And they never read the manual. They didn't know that, so they couldn't start the damn truck. So after about 5 minutes with a little bit of ether and some fresh batteries and my foot to the floor, we had it running. Cut a deal for like $1,400 and took the truck home. Split it in half, pulled the important stuff, sold the box, scrapped the rest, and here we are. So the only thing I had to do suspension wise to hold the Cummins was new front springs that have a 3rd leaf. Factory HDs have a 2-leaf pack. We went to a 3rd, and then I put some you can't see it hardly on this side, but there's a bump stop I welded in just in case, because that oil pan is awful close. So we'll finish up here and I'll show you where the magic happens here, so to speak. I got a battery tender I keep on here. Maybe we'll unhook those, tuck everything out of the way, but anyways, it's got an aftermarket intercooler, barn plate intercooler you can see there, and an oil cooler tucked up in there too. And had to do electric fans, obviously. Had to give it a pretty good cant on the back of that motor to get it to fit underneath the Chevy firewall. Luckily these HDs have a 4-inch factory body lift, so that made it clear a lot better. But you know, some custom intercooler piping and you know, aftermarket intake there, or just an aftermarket filter. But yeah, put a Dodge power steering pump on that that runs the Hydro Boost really well, and put a new turbo on at some point, a little bit bigger, and she's obviously turned up a little bit. So let's fire it up real quick here. So it's a manual shutdown, so we'll pull that guy out. Get the keys out here. Look at that good old classic Chevy dash. So neutral, and a little bit of top. And she fires right up to life. It's a little loud. She always has been a little loud. I mean, it's a 12 valve, right? But then on top of that, turn off this radio. Try to connect to my phone. On top of that, though, the exhaust is just rotted off. So tack is in op, but everything else is. Had a little adapter. See a little green light down there. Adapter for the speedo. So we've got working speedometer. Fuel gauge doesn't work, but volts obviously, and temp and oil pressure do. So that's about it. We got some custom switches and stuff I put in from when I was plowing. Half of it still works. She's a beast. This truck is a runner. It's quick. It's fun. It's just a fun little platform. Yell at me for doing that, but it's 12 valve. She ain't gonna die. And I actually had it running about, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, so I let it warm up, I promise. Alright guys, well, shut up, Chevy. It's good for smoking out mosquitoes too. So there you have it. Affectionately known as the Cummins Truck.